Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Today I'm reviewing Boss Level. This was directed by Joe Carnahan and stars Frank Grillo, Naomi Watts, Mel Gibson and Michelle Yeoh. The film really follows Roy, played by Frank Grillo, a military man who ultimately finds himself stuck in a loop, reliving the same day over and over again only to be killed each time. It looks at how it begins as an exciting thing and ultimately becomes boring for him. It's a repetitiveness. He has to continuously do the same things and gets a bit bored and a bit over it. And that is until he finds a reason to fight for the people he loves. And it's about him trying to work out what's going on and why he has found himself in this particular loop and how to get out of it and what he needs to do that. And it really follows his journey through that. Look, I liked this. I thought it was fantastic. The film was exactly what I thought it was going to be like. The trailer set it up perfectly. It's one of the very few films where the trailer actually expresses what the movie's actually going to be like. This was a pure entertaining and fun film that had a little bit of heart and a little bit of depth with particular characters and a solid story, I thought. You get swept up in the world. It's very funny, it's very full on. There's a lot of great action sequences and action set pieces. The characters are really fun and interesting, and the things that he has to go through, the multiple deaths that fall upon him, is really fascinating to watch. I think all the acting's great. I think Mel Gibson is really good here, playing sort of a solid villain, and it's sort of the roles he's been playing of late, but he's really great here. They give him some good moments. There's a great scene where he tells his particular story that really sums him up in the way he is, and I really like that. I thought Naomi Watts was really good in it as well. She sort of plays an important and pivotal role in the film that you learn later, that you're not quite sure of what's transpired, and ultimately there's been a relationship between her character and Roy's character, and I kind of like that, the way they delve in and explain that. Michelle Yeoh appears in the film, and she's only in a little minor scene, but I really thought she was great. She ultimately was in a small minor scene where she teaches Frank's character Roy how to use a sword. I kind of like that. I just wish she was in it more because I'm a big fan of Michelle Yeoh. But the real standout here and the real heart and soul is Frank Grillo. What a great performance he gives here. He not only shows he's good at action because he's a martial artist in real life as well, so he can do the physicality of the role really well, but there's also moments he can be dramatic and also very funny. I've never seen him being quite funny in a role, and this is refreshing for me. And it's good to see the dimensions of him as an actor, and that he can do a variety of things that no one's really seen him do before, and I was really impressed with that. I'm a big Frank Grillo fan. I've been a fan of his for a long time, and really took notice of him in Purge 2, where he kind of played a Punisher-esque role. For me, he's the Punisher I would like to see on screen if they ever made another movie. And he's really great. I just think he does a really fantastic job. You believe he's this tough and capable man. He's a military man. You believe everything that he's expressing on screen. And you really get to see a bit of heart and soul to this sort of character. And there's a lot more depth here than you usually would see in these sort of action movies, which I really loved. It was very funny, and it was just an entertaining ride. And that's what I really wanted from the film, and that's what it delivered on so many levels. There's a handful of sequences that really stand out to me. There's one where we sort of get a look at yesterday, what transpired from the day before all this happened. And I think this sequence is really good because it sets up who he is and who Naomi Watts is and their relationship. It introduces Mel Gibson's character, the Colonel, who's ultimately the villain of the piece. And it sort of sets in motion of particular clues and things happening in that scene that will be divulged and then looked at later in the movie. And I think this scene is really good in that regard, even though it drags on just a little bit. I like the scene between Michelle Yeoh's character and Frank Grillo's character, where she's training him to use a sword for a particular sequence that happens later in the film. I really like this sequence. I wish there was many more of these scenes between the two, because I think they're really good and they will play off each other really well. And these scenes were kind of fun and interesting to watch. And I really love the multitude of deaths that this character goes through. The many ways they come up with him to die. And some of them brutal, some of them fun, some of them very funny and entertaining. It just is a very unique experience. It really takes that time loop concept and does something a little different with it. It's more of an action-based thing, which is good, but it feels more like a video game. Even down to when the film opens up, the opening credits, it's sort of done with the gaming music and pixelated sort of imagery. And you know, each time he comes back with each attempt, it says in progress, like it's sort of loading, and I really like that. They could have used a bit more of it through the film, but I thought that was very clever, and it's a good way to take this sort of trapped in a loop concept and do something different with it and refreshing, and that's definitely what this film delivers on. I just loved it from start to finish. There's some really great funny moments in it. I just thought it was a really refreshing and great film, and it's so great to see a film that is just pure entertainment. I think we miss this these days. With all this shit happening in the world and all these movies that come out are kind of dreary and dark and, you know, sad or whatever, it's good to see a film that's just pure entertainment. We need these films sometimes. We need a lot more of them, I think, these days, and this is definitely one that sort of grabbed me straight away, and I absolutely loved it. My only criticism for the film would be, like when we find out what happened yesterday, the day before, it sort of drags on a little bit. It's an important thing, but it sort of slows the movie down. And this sequence comes in probably, you know, in the first 30 minutes, and it sort of slows it down, then it picks up again. Like I said, I would like to have seen more Michelle Yeoh. That was another thing that I thought they could have done more with, and she could have really been a partner in crime with him, I thought, which could have been a really interesting aspect, but they didn't sort of go down that path. But besides that, I enjoyed every moment of it, and it was entertaining and fun and just pure excitement, and I loved it. Final thoughts. In the end, it's really about how far will we go to protect the ones that we care about or love, and how sometimes life can be repetitive. Day after day can seem the same, can crash into each other. In this sort of film, he's able to right some wrongs in a way. I just think that's an interesting way that they go about sort of talking about these particular films. And it just shows a man doing what he has to do and finding purpose in life once again. I'm going to give Boss Level 4 out of 5. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit subscribe down the bottom. Follow me on Facebook. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.